So now there are a lot of new words, right? Buddhas and bodhisattvas. So if you didn't know what these words are, again, you go back to that Buddhist art and Buddhism. There are talks that I uploaded, and then you have a link on the website, so you can read up more about it. So here, the artist is a Toribushi. Remember, we just saw Toribushi's one statue in the beginning, and this three-figure ensemble is called Shaka Trinity or Shaka Triad. The same meaning, like a three-figure ensemble. And then the main figure is Shakyamuni, and then two attending, like you can see that they are sort of serving or accompanying, the main statue. They are called bodhisattvas. They will be named later on. And then we know the exact name 632. That's because the name is inscribed on the back of this halo. These are called halo. The big fire was at 670, right? So this statue was made before the fire. And then after the fire, when the temple was rebuilt a little bit larger, then they moved this statue and then installed it. But it's nice about metal work. This is gilt bronze. They don't melt in the fire, right? They are not made of wood. So they survived, and then they are placed over here. So this is the word bodhisattva. So bodhisattva is a Buddha in training, or they are lay people. So they are not God, but they are very generous and kind. They really want to help poor people like us, ordinary citizens like us. And they are also in a position to talk to Shakya. This is the God, right? The Buddha, and these are bodhisattvas. So take a moment and figure out how this statue was put together, right? I mean, how are you going to cast this metal statue like this? It would be better that if you create individual components and assemble them together, right? So I would say you have a main statue that includes that skirt, right? Like a drapery is falling off the podium. So that's one. And then you have 2, 3, and then this is separate 4, 5, and then the 6, and then maybe 7, 8. And then maybe this is separate like a 9. So that you create individual gilt bronze component and then you assemble them together. So how do we know that they assembled? Like this. The bodhisattva, if they are detached from the halo over the head, and then the larger halos over the body, you have these nails, right? So originally they are stuck together, and then they had halos for the head, and then halos for the body. And it's also not completely three-dimensional, right? Like it's a little bit warped, and then thin. So it's very economical in terms of use of expensive melt bronze. You don't need a lot of them. You only need half of it, right? Anyhow, so who was Toribushi? Toribushi is an amazing sculptor in a way, right? Sculptor. So we know his name because he was mentioned somewhere in the historical document. So originally, Toribushi's family came from China in the early 6th century, right? Like remember, the Chinese political situation was tumultuous, so there are a lot of people migrated, and then they were making saddle or lacquer or ornate metalwork, and then Toribushi became very important sculptor of this period. And you can read more about how Shaka Triad had an occasion to make. This is Northern Way gilt bronze statue, and this is Toribushi's Goryuji statue. And what is most noticeable? Face symmetrical, right? Like a stern expression and symmetrical. And then there is no facial expression, right? They look very stern and serious. And then they have heavy draperies. both the shoulders are covered. You have a little bit of like the knot, the ribbons for underwear, right, undershirt. And then there is a really big one gown, that goes over the arms like this. And then what's most characteristic about the Northern Way is there's a heavy drape force for the feet area. So it looks like on many gatherings, but again, quite symmetrical, right, left and right. And this, like a draperies and heavy draperies, a symmetrical treatment of it, and those are all visible in Toribushi's statue. I say gilt bronze. It should look really bright gold yellow, right? But the gilt part, but the coated gold disappeared throughout the period, so you only see a lot of gold in one of the bodhisattvas, but not on the other statues. This one has a lot of gold. There was also yakushi. Like in the early Buddhism, Japanese people had a special devotion to the Buddha of healing. In the Horyuji itself, like this one is in the middle, but on the wall, like surroundings, you can also find painted images of Buddha, like a Shaka triad. So this is again the same idea. Buddha in the center, two bodhisattvas on the side, but look at the date. This is already 8th century, so the styles are totally different. And then you also have Miroku. Miroku is a future Buddha. You can find these names on the terms and definitions, and this is made of wood. So in the early Buddhist statues, the gilt and then the carved wood were most common materials. Japan, they had a lot of trees, cypress trees especially. And another example is, like a close relationship between three kingdoms of Korea and ancient kingdom of Asuka of Japan is the same iconographic traditions. They look almost identical, right? One is made of gilt bronze, the other is red pine. And most important example is Tamamu Shrine of Horyuji Temple. So we are talking about this shrine. So why do you need a shrine? In order to house a small golden statues inside. And if you don't use it, you can close the door. And then if you want to pray in front of, you can open it and then take a look. And this is called the Tamamushi beetle. And I want you to read your textbook. I don't want to give out all the answers. So figure out what the relationship between this and that. And then you can also talk about the meaning of, so it has like a 1, 2, 3, 4 sides bottom. And you have this image is very important narrative. So I want you to read about this in your textbook. And the same Hungry Jataka story appears in Dunhuang, China.